Welcome to the show that helps you get an audience for your show. Today my guest is no ghoul or ghost or Pontiana, but Sha Rudyn. Jean, this is Ages for Hantu by Stages, and it's obviously very appropriate because the 7th month, which is a month of the Hungry Ghost, is coming. Now, it's a proscenium arch production, I understand. So why not a site-specific one? Because if it's site-specific, the audience is immersed in the atmosphere. You can actually feel, the ambience of the thing, whereas here, there's always a detachment of the proscenium arch. So you can imagine you're watching, like, say, a Jack Neo, movie about hauntings and stuff.
There's direct engagement between the main character and the audience. There's already so much we are exploring. From the live acting, there's puppetry, and then there's lots of singing, lots of moving around. And if you had to deal with something that was, site specific, it might actually hamper the process. But what's fresh is that there aren't many ghost stories that are specific to Singapore, specific to what's in folklore that Singaporeans are familiar with. The ghosts are also Singapore based.
Singapore ghosts.
Okay, Pontiana. We have Penanggalan. We have Hantu Gala. We have Hantu Pokok Pisang.
How are they going to animate that on stage?
With puppetry and probably black light also. The Pontiana is live action. So there's combination of both.
I see.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by the staging it already. It's tough. You got to figure out where you're gonna stand, how you're gonna stand, where you're gonna place, and then work the puppets.
Now, would you say that this piece, what's the intent of it? Is it more to reinforce, folkloristic tradition, or is it more to debunk myths?
I think it's an embrace, rather than debunking. It's more embracing that this is, part of our culture, part of our heritage.
Yeah.
And us being a metropolitan societies, we should embrace each other's cultures and find out more about each other and learn about each other that way. So we can. It's the harmony, right, that we want to establish. It's sort of a comedic look at the Pontiana, or comedic look at the Penanggal. So there's jokes to Penanggal makes jokes about having no body in her life, because she has no body, and the thing about Hantu Gala is way up here, yes, the pollution is different, and I can only see certain things, and so it's like a humorous look at things from their perspective.
But Jean, if you have this whole catalogue of local ghosts, how can you use a narrative to string them all together without it degenerating to a sequence of little vignettes? Would there still be this kind of sustaining narrative that will hook and bait the audience?
The main narrative is the story of Sazali. Now he lived in this kampong, right? His family is from the kampong, but he's moved out, and this kampong is about to be torn down. And because he can still see the ghosts, and from when he was small, he they are his friends, and they have nowhere to go. So the main backstory is that he's trying to save the homes of his friends. And then we have someone from HDB who's trying to explain to Sazali that, hey, in the name of progress, we have to move on. And he tries to reason with her that there are these other things. And it's in him trying to reason with her that we go into their world and we see things as they see.
So it's very much a kind of social allegory rather than just appealing to superstition. Because you're actually using, ghosts as a metaphor for kind of spiritual or spatial dislocation.
Yes.
I see. The Incredible Tales always has, it builds up the atmosphere with this, really kind of intriguing narrative, and then at the end of it, they have no choice but to bring in this kind of dumb-ass psychologist who has to explain it all away using a very rational, scientific perspective. But you don't, in this particular instance, need to incorporate a kind of advisory or rejoinder to your publicity collateral to say this is just part of our folklore, it's not necessarily true.
With theatre, we can have multiple realities going on at the same time. And so certain things can be explained without having to blatantly explain them.
I see.
Yeah, and certain things, as long as I think, when I watch something, as long as I can make sense of it, I don't really need someone to justify that. Unfortunately, with the limits of television, there's an even bigger audience, so there is that added responsibility of where is this coming from, and so it needs to be to some degree verified.
But what about in terms of the caliber of experience? Because you are very much a veteran in the Singapore theatre scene, and to work with, say, Ko Wan Ching and Joe Tan is very different from working with, say, Karen Tan and Ivan Heng.
To me, it's like when you have younger and perhaps less experienced actors. Yes, they may be bringing less onto the table, but at the same time, they still are bringing in things to the table that I'm not familiar with.
I see.
They are less jaded, and there are things that, because for somebody like me who's been informed through experience, there are certain areas that I don't want to go there. Whereas these people don't have that. They have a greater sense of abandon. Less afraid to try things and to go for things, and that spirit, I think it really enhances the creative process.
So, if our audience were to ask you to recommend certain sort of features that you especially like about this production, what would you say would be the highlights of this piece that nobody should miss?
To me, the way the lyrics have been put together with the music, Jonathan's writing and Wen Fu's music, how the two have come together, and there's a lot of energy in the songs, in the music itself.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to it, and I think in the 7th month it'll make a special sense to go and catch H is for Hantu. Well, if you've been paying attention to our interview, you stand to win a pair of tickets to H is for Hantu. What is one role that Jean Sha Rudyn will be playing in H is for Hantu? Is it A, the flying nun, B, the singing nun, or C, none of the above? Now put the correct answer on a postcard, mail it to the producers, an audience with Dr Seet, PO Box 007, Timbuktu, and the first correct answer that falls out of our mailbox will win a pair of tickets to H is for Hantu. So I hope to see you there and we can scare each other out of our wits. Bye bye.
On the 131 to Tooting Broadway, it's a crowd.